Hello? Are you here?
Hello.
Hello. Are you looking good? Are you feeling good? I see you in there. You looking good. You feeling good. I want to start today with a funny. Because it's funny. And I laughed until I cried. when I saw this morning. All right, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. Okay, and this. Share. So now you see everything. And I'm going to show you this. So this gal named Sharon Weiss, she said, "Thanks, Marie Callender, for ruining Thanksgiving dessert." Grr. Right? And so everybody just piled on to this particular thing and did a bunch of memes. Sharon opening the oven to check on the pie that she put in the day before. Sharon, while baking the pie, never going to take it out, never going to blame myself. Your face. Sharon, I hope the oven temperature isn't too high. The oven temperature. Snoop Dogg. Oops, you added too much. Gross negligence. Sharon's pie looking back at her after she checks and decides to let it cook for 30 minutes. Charcoal lighter. But I took it out when the timer went off. Sharon, that was a smoke alarm. Select all the squares that are Marie Callender's fault.
Are these out there, or did people make these?
People made these
for this post.
Yeah, no, it's everywhere. Yeah, Sharon, how long have you had that pie in the oven? It's been 84 years.
It's been 84 years.
Baking bad. Sharon. Take the pie out of the oven or draw 25. Sharon Weiss. With a fistful of you.
Who is Sharon?
She's just the gal that posted about Marie Callender screwing up her.
All I see is this name.
No,
here.
that's not. That's a different poster. Sharon Weiss, I bet he's thinking about other women. Is she going to ever take that pie out of the oven?
Wow.
Sharon Weiss trying to calculate how long to put the pie in for. Oh, well, I hope you found that funny.
I hope they did too.
You didn't find any of that
Well, I'm
funny?
in a different headspace, but I think I can understand what they're going for, with the whole pie thing. But why is that? I don't understand why it's so amazingly hilarious to put a pie in too long and make jokes about it. Why is that a thing?
She put it in too long.
Mm-hmm.
And then she blamed Marie Callender.
Right.
For her pie getting burnt.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That's clear.
And then everybody jumped on the bandwagon to kind of make fun of the fact that she was blaming Marie Callender when she's the one who sets the oven.
Yeah, I got all that.
Okay. Yeah. Just it wasn't funny to Todd. That's okay. It was funny to me. And it was funny to about 5 million other people.
Yeah.
So cool. We are where we are, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I haven't baked much. Maybe I can't relate.
All right. Hi, guys. Say hi to us in the comments. Hello. So let's do Belief Buster. Yes?
Sure.
You want to do something different? Okay.
That's fine. So blank, but blank. The word but dismisses whatever precedes it in a sentence and leaves the focus on what follows it. I'd like to be able to do public speaking, but I don't have the confidence. So you haven't developed all the confidence you want yet, but you really want to learn to enjoy public speaking. I want to get good at NLP language patterns, but I don't feel comfortable with them. So you don't feel entirely comfortable that you've achieved the level of skill you desire, but you feel excited about getting good at using NLP language patterns. Which parts of what they are saying and thinking could be worth bringing more into the foreground?
Right.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Welcome.
Welcome. So, the but language pattern, and this is also, well, it's the but pattern from Ericksonian language patterns. It's whatever is before the but gets kind of crossed out because your mind says, yeah, but, so it's our yeah, buts. We gotta move our butts around and decide on how do we want to see things differently? How do we want to experience things differently? And then using that as a way to counteract any negative thinking or limited thinking that we may have currently showing up in our experience.
Think of the way that people break up with people on like romantic comedy movies and such.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they always start with the positive thing about the other person, and the other person starts to think something's coming because they led with a compliment, and then you are so great, but I just don't think we're a match. That kind of shtick, it's a trope.
Yeah, right.
It's a movie trope.
Yeah.
My other favorite movie trope, I was wanting to make a list of tropes if I ever made a parody kind of a movie or anything. My favorite movie trope, and this is done all the time, it's so hilarious to me, is when two people get together. They're at a dance and everybody's dancing, and if you want to dance, come on, it'll be fine. And the other person they're reluctant and they get coaxed out there. And like, okay, all right, let's go, let's do this. They get out there. The second they get on the dance floor, it changes to a slow song, and then they have these awkward faces. And I can think of like 20 times where that was done.
Yeah.
So what does that have to do with but? Not much, but yeah, you've heard it all the time in the movies where it's like, you are so great.
Yeah.
But I just need to do this for me.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Eileen.
Yeah. Hello, Eileen.
Yeah. So we could follow a few pathways this morning as far as different things we could talk about.
But
we might just talk about showing you more memes. Probably not, though.
If anyone bakes, make sure you rewind and watch from the beginning, because Kyra has some Marie Callender images that she showed.
It's a meme.
Memes. Sorry, they were memes. Yeah.
We're doing great. All right, let's see. Better do something different,
That's cool. Yeah.
I like this one. Examine the belief from a wider or narrower perspective. When you change the frame size of a limiting belief, you include information that was previously excluded. If I don't control people, then things won't turn out right. How do you know which people you don't have to control? I can use NLP language patterns because I don't feel comfortable with them. I can't use them. What responses have you noticed from others when you have used those language patterns? So I like that one. Making sure that we question. Hi, Carolyn. What I noticed there is when we say, well, it seemingly not even a part of the question itself, or not even a part of the thought process or the limiting belief necessarily, but it's looking at it and turning on its head by saying, how do you know which people you don't need to control?
Wow.
What's right about them?
Hey,
Susan. #live.
Look at these folks coming on. This is fantastic.
This is wonderful. And so for that one in particular, it's like, okay, how can we expand this question out, or how can we make it like really pinpointed to a particular part of the limiting belief, and make it really big and unruly, because if you feel like you control people, well, what people specifically are you controlling? What about them is the thing that you need to control? And then that also is who don't you control? Who doesn't need that kind of special care and attention that you feel like you need to douse them with. And I think maybe not control, but it could be any number of things, right? Like, people that I feel aren't doing it right, or aren't doing it good enough, or should be doing it this way, or should be doing it my way, or where am I not enough, and am I always not enough, and that kind of thing can be really helpful too. Susan says, and Carolyn, we got to do our thing for Carolyn. Oh, let's see. Found the guest Wi-Fi at the doctor's office. Yes. And then catching you live, it's like hitting the lottery. Booyah!
I watched a movie about hitting the lottery last night.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, but we would call this the guest Wi-Fi episode. Just titled the episode "Guest Wi-Fi" at the doctor's office.
Yeah, my problem, I think my limiting belief is like Susan saying, my way. Ugh, that one. Yeah, I'm very much committed to my belief that my way is the right way. When it was funny because when it's with our old clients, when I would see clients, I wouldn't do it that way. But people in my life who aren't privy to the type of information or education is in like in the holistic field, I would think, why don't they know that? Or it's actually a critical thinking problem. It's called, oh my gosh, I'm going to of course lose it. But it's basically when you know something, it becomes an obstacle to continuing to learn more. And so for me, it's in personal, maybe friendships or family or whatever. But with clients, it was a very different thing. And I think the difference there was that they were coming to me because they knew that I could help them, whereas other people aren't asking. Aren't asking or don't see me in that same way. I don't play that same role. And so
Homie, don't play that.
That's right. And so it was kind of a different, they had a different representational system for me than what I had for myself. And so they didn't see me as I saw myself, and I didn't see them as someone who really wasn't asking. Really wasn't asking, really didn't care to know. So it's been an interesting balance.
How do you know when you know? I know. I love that you highlighted that. How often when I think I know that I stopped listening? Oh, you are the best listener
are the best
I've met, Susan. And I think you are so damn good because you keep listening. And I'm a good listener too, and I'm better now than I was, but I know that in the past I've had a lot of opinions, or a lot of believing that I was right about things. And I mean, that just, if you think then you stop searching for what it could be as soon as you've identified what you think you know.
Yeah.
And then you commit to that, and just like our course coach John L said, I'm willing to not get, I'm willing to be wrong and allow, which is not control.
Yeah.
And I will say this, that the presence process has flipped all that on its head for me.
Right.
In terms of unhooking from a lifetime of doing that, having so much on those unintegrated emotional charges that just had another miracle happen over the last 24 hours, and was able to unhook from something. Didn't even know that I was unhooked from it. It wasn't like, oh, I got to unhook from that. No, I was unhooked from it, and I was moved on to the next thing. It wasn't until the day after that I was like, holy shit, I totally unhooked from that. And I wasn't even thinking about it. That's a miracle. It's a miracle.
It is a miracle. It's a miracle.
Huge.
It's a miracle. When we talk about A Course in Miracles, forgiving, loving, seeing innocence, thanking your attacker, all that shit is a miracle. Like I was like, well, what does miracles mean? What are miracles? Miracles are like, what is that? Jesus turning water to wine? Like, I mean,
Shifted
that seems like it
perception.
would be handy in a pinch. Or loaves and fishes and abundance, and is it money? Is it what is really a miracle? And a miracle is just a shift in perception where you've unhooked from your painful behaviors so that you can be a more loving person in this world. That's it. It seems so simple sounding, but it can be so hard, especially if you've been through painful experiences that are difficult to unhook from.
Absolutely. And in my experience, I didn't know this. I mean, I've been studying course for 15 years, but I didn't know, I didn't have this awareness until I did the presence process,
It integrated.
to integrate it.
Yeah.
And that is, even though course and all those things helped so much, I still saw that I was using it as a defense to protect myself in some regards. To be right. I didn't, you don't know that you use what you know to be right. And being right is an attack and a use of separation, a separation type of behavior. And God, I mean, you could be right to an attack, and you can be right and cling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. And as much as I've tried to pull off of those things, you just don't know what you don't know with your awareness until you integrate it. And then once it's integrating emotionally, then those awarenesses kind of fill in later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, I don't, and then it leaves, you have the absence of it. And then later on you realize, oh, look, I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore.
Let's stop that.
Yeah. It's a real blessing.
Yeah. The thing that I was trying to remember, it's a critical thinking bias, and it's the curse of knowledge. Once you understand something, you presume it to be obvious to everyone.
What is this? This is great.
I know. I'm very excited about these cards.
This is the cognitive bias.
Yeah. This is the critical thinking
cards.
So from your logical fallacies.
These are great.
.com, yourlogicalfallacies.com. I found mine on Amazon, and some of them go along with my belief systems because I do have belief systems. These are very science-based. So if you have beliefs,
they're great conversational talk points.
Right.
Once you understand something, you presume it to be obvious for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It could be hard to remember our own prior state of confusion when we didn't understand something. Yeah. When teaching someone something new, go slow without being patronizing.
That one, I think I have a hard time with that one. Because there are times I was scrolling around this morning. I was looking at somebody from Walmart, like, the people of Walmart. And I was like, God, how did they not know what is going on with you? And the comments were all very funny, but I was like, wow. And then that gets into some bias and some, different things like that in my mind, in my thinking. And then I have to reel it in and go, where are my belief systems? If I spot it, I got it. Where am I seeing myself as a person of Walmart? Have I ever been a person of Walmart?
Did I walk in without a bra?
Well, that's a given.
Am I judging myself?
Yeah. Am I judging myself? Where am I judging myself harshly? And where am I not offering my brother, sister, their innocence?
Right.
Where am I not seeing their struggle? Where am I not loving them? And where am I not loving myself? And all those kinds of things. So, and
it doesn't come to when did you do that in Walmart? It's just,
yeah.
What are your where is your self-judgment,
Right.
And if you ask Holy Spirit, it'll be revealed to you at some point. Usually within a couple of days, if that, and you'll be shown where you were self-critical.
Yes.
To have projected that criticism onto the people of Walmart.
Yeah, it was interesting because there was like all this piling on comments, but then there was one that said, this person must be needing some care right now or some love right now. And I was like, one person out of 5,000 comments And I'm like, that's incredible. You know, I mean, I know it's just one person, but it still brings a pinpoint of light, you know, into the situation. And I thought that was really lovely. Let's see. She said,
Oh my gosh.
dang, critical thinking bias. Preach it. What's up? And miracles are natural. I love that. Karen. Shop at Target.
I love that one old joke. You know, if I die in Walmart, please drag my body to Target.
That's right. Then that goes to the perceptions of other people and being consumed by what other people think. Yeah. How dare you go to Walmart?
I think Target is supposed to have a more sophistication or something like that
Yeah, I guess so.
than Walmart.
Yeah.
Walmart's the bottom of the barrel, apparently, with all the memes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have to be.
It's
just a perception.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's other issues. I remember I had a client come in. This is before I moved to St. Louis, actually. And he was very sweet, older gentleman. And he said something like, he said something about Walmart. And he said, don't shop there, by the way. And I said, huh?
Sounds like he had an opinion.
I was like, what happened? And he was like, well, I mean, do what you want, but don't shop there. And I'm like, oh, okay. I went and got some clothes from Walmart. You know, so you know, it's so interesting how all of the tentacles come out for, you know, anybody wanting to the ego will use everything to create and continue that separation of things in our experience.
Just like the Holy Spirit will use everything to undo the separation, but we have to remember to give our minds over, you know, give them to God, Source, Holy Spirit, and ask to be guided, and we will be. And little miracles can happen, shift our perceptions every single day.
It's like what you talked about with Super Size Me.
Okay.
And you were watching the show, and you were like, God, I really want some McDonald's. That is how hypnosis works, actually. Yeah. And I'm like sobbing about these children eating bad food and eating bad food in their school and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, God, I'm thinking I need to go. This was 15 years ago or whatever, whenever it came out.
Yeah. Other people have polarized reactions. They either want McDonald's or they hate McDonald's after watching that. Right. I think the hate came the second time. Well, no, I've wanted McDonald's each time I watched it. But I've only watched that movie like 2-3 times in 15 years. Hi, Marianne.
Yeah, I mean, talk about free publicity for McDonald's. You know, it's so interesting. They did change some. They did change some of the policies and things like that. But ultimately, and I was talking to my girlfriend Foxy yesterday, and another friend, and we were talking about, you know, yeah, go ahead, you know, tear me down on social media. That's just going to make me, you know, it's going to make me look better, you know, ultimately. Because I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to get out there. I'm not going to do anything. It'll make people buy my book. It'll make, you know, it's so contradictory. It's that reverse. I'm like, I'm the first person to tell you, I'll be out there and I'll like look at something and somebody will say, oh, such and such is a bad thing. And I'm like, oh, click. You know? And because our minds are just naturally geared that way in many ways.
Yeah. Your mind, your subconscious mind doesn't understand the word not. Yeah. It only understands attention. So whatever, even if you're saying don't think of a white elephant or whatever, you'll think of a white elephant, right? So what some people say, any PR is good PR.
That's right.
Any PR is good PR.
Yeah.
Because it's putting you front and center in front of people, which is suggestion, and marketing companies know that. That they pay big money to put themselves in front of you.
Yeah. The more they see you, the more people see you, the more top of mind you are, the more, the more you're out there, so if you ever have any bad situations come up for you in your life or experience around that, just know that you matter. What you're saying matters. Good things. If you're relaying good things and you're wanting good things in this life, and somebody's attacking you for it, give them no attention whatsoever. You're here, if you've had something put in your heart to do, you do it. You do it. You'll either do it now or you'll do it later, but you're going to do it because it is something that is a loving driving force in this world. So just let yourself be that. And anybody else who tells you differently, they don't need your attention. They don't need your energy. It's just a distraction. It's just the ego distraction. It's an ego trying to hook into another ego, and they can play and have their little battle and have fun and
drama.
Yeah, drama, the cheap drama. And it's like, no. You take one of those away. Where is Thumpkin? You take one of those away, and this little ego is going to go try to find another ego, or it's going to try to find, somebody else to mess with, or it's going to die itself. And that's kind of a loving thing to do for them, is not engaging in anything that's negative. Easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anytime you're perpetuating talking about anything with anyone, it's just drama. If it's complaining, gossip, or things like that, it's just drama. It perpetuates ego's behaviors. But if you want to hunt for ego, which takes more responsibility, and identify the behaviors, then you can start to pull off of it, go hard against the grain, and starve the ego from getting its attention, and realize, hey, this is me, this is not me. Those getting and protecting behaviors, that's not me. That's my ego. Those are the things that I learned, the things I was conditioned to learn of how to get loved and be lovable. And they're not very productive, So I'm going to choose to pull off of those things and start finding out how I'm really worthy and lovable, and let that be my new truth, and let God guide you, and your spiritual practices guide you to do so. And whatever you pull your attention off of will starve. Yes. It'll starve neurologically. And then it begins to fill in with other things. And those are replacement behaviors and habits that you can do. Anything that's more constructive. So, part of it is doing positive things, and other part of it is starving the things that are not good for you, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's easy to think of it in terms of like substance abuse, like drinking or something, but think of it also in terms of behaviors. Where am I running, clinging, lying, acting like a victim, attacking? It may take a lot, and this is The Real Love book by Greg Baer, Baer. It takes years to really get into this, but you can at least gain an intellectual understanding by, reading it through once. And, tools like The Presence Process by Michael Brown and Real Love by Greg Baer, these are just street-friendly applications of things like A Course in Miracles. So you can really help to integrate those things that we would otherwise be fighting against mentally, or by or getting or protecting otherwise.
And the question is, well, why does any of it matter? I got the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I got to feed the family. I've got to survive. I have to work the job. I have to make sure there's enough. I have to, and so we can definitely veer away from our spiritual practice, even though we really should be flipping that triangle upside down. Spirituality, or owning yourself, owning your responsibility, being who you are, trusting your guidance, feeling good, even if it's your gut, just your gut guidance. That should be the tip, should be the beginning, the starting point. And because of, I think, just evolutionary type of standards, it has been the other way. money,
survival,
food, shelter, water,
right.
that kind of thing. But if you flip it, that point will fill everything else in. Everything else will get filled in if you clear this point, and give yourself some time. There is a moment of panic that I get sometimes, where, because owning your own business is no joke. Like Aunt Karen will tell you that, and it is no joke. It's real. The struggle is real. And also too, it's one of the most rewarding, empowering, positive, amazing things that we can do and our kids are doing it, right? Our kids, our millennials are out there, they're killing it. They're finding ways to make money and do stuff with technology that is just mind-blowing. And I so appreciate them for doing that. Finding ways to hustle, man, like just figuring it out. But I think that, when we are connected to that spiritual aspect or understanding and taking that full responsibility, and everything fills in, there are moments in me where I'm like, oh, my ego comes in and is like, well, is it enough? Did you do it good enough? Are you on the right path? Is this the right business, or is this the right thing? And almost immediately, and thank God this happens within a day or two, I'll say something like, correct my vision where I'm believing that I'm in control of any of this. Please correct my vision where I'm believing that I am needing to do anything to create my experience the way I think it should be. Correct my vision where I'm believing that I'm more powerful than God to bring these things into my life, or take the things out that I don't want. And whatever it might be. And then suddenly within a day or so, usually something comes in where it's like, oh, I'm on the right path. I'm on the right track, or show me that, bless it or block it. Todd says a lot, bless it or block it. Is this where I'm supposed to be headed? And sometimes it's a straight up block. There is no movement. Nothing's happening. Everything is seeming to fall apart. And then it's like, okay, well, what's over here? What's over there? Let's see if we can find a new direction, shift the energy a little bit.
Yeah. Ego wants to be in action. And if you're blocked, pushing is usually not the right thing to do in my experience, but taking a step back, being quiet, asking to be led. I think, the more we incessantly control any aspect of our lives, the more our faith is lacking, because trust is not having to control so damn much. And I think the more you flip that pyramid on its head and lead yourself spiritually, however you feel led to lead yourself spiritually, to allow yourself to be led spiritually, the more that instinctive mind takes a back seat, and then you introduce this new flow to things. And I think what it's like when life flows. Things go really well, you're relaxed, and things just kind of have a way of working themselves out, whether it's instantaneous or takes some time or whatever. But what that feels like when you get into that flow and things just start happening.
Yeah.
And the mind stops questioning and you start to relax a little bit more. That's how you're letting go of control and allowing yourself to be led. It's not a conclusion or a result that you had to go effort for. Now, if you're led to take action, you take action, but it's not instinctual, fear-based, control-laden action,
Right.
So the how matters. The how matters in arriving anywhere. It's not just about the goal. It's about what you are doing, how you are feeling, and how you're experiencing your journey to the goal. The goal really doesn't matter.
No, because a goal can be a moving target.
Often it is.
Yeah.
The airplanes, they're always off course. They're constantly calibrating
Yeah.
based on wind speed and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what I say that to myself. It's like, okay, my favorite one, it's in our more recent book that Todd and I wrote, and we'll launch it at some point. But it is where there was a movie called Simply Irresistible. Anyone out there? Sarah Michelle Gellar, Neil Patrick Flannery, I believe that's his name.
Sean Patrick. Neil
Patrick. I was thinking about the other Neil Patrick. And basically, it's a girl. She finds this magical ability that she's able to cook really well all of a sudden. And then she's asked to go to a big event, and she realizes she doesn't have the ingredients that she needs for the things that she's planned on. And it's a very big deal. And so she has a sous chef who is very just in her corner, 100%. Backs up everything that she does. Just a true loyal friend and partner. And she goes, the menu is going to change. And he stands up and he goes, the menu is going to change. Like, it's sometimes we need that person that's going to stand up for us and be like, hey, she made a decision or he made a decision. We have to take control and do the thing, instead of going, yeah, oh gosh, that must be really hard for you to have to make that decision and change things now. No. It's the menu is going to change. And sometimes we have to do that for ourselves too. If something is not working in our business and our life, in our relationships, the menu has got to change. It's going to change. This is happening. Let's change it. Don't get stuck in the mire of the problem.
Don't be a victim.
And don't be a victim to it. It's not even a victim thing. It is make a new choice. Immediately you're out of victimhood, which is empowering.
Realizing that you have a choice in any situation means you automatically step out of victimhood.
Yeah. And sometimes when you're working with people in different situations, that's the thing you bring to them first, is you have choices. Let me tell you what some of them are, and then once you know what some of those choices are, then and your client or whomever you're working with knows what those choices are, then they get to step into it and you just support them there. Mm-hmm. I think that we're the sous chefs when we work with our clients in this way, to say, hey, the menu is going to change and I'm going to stand here strong with you in this, because I'm not going to let your ego take you out.
A lot of times clients don't let themselves know that they have choices purely out of conditioning. They just don't think the choices are available to them. And by helping them to explore their choices when you're coaching and or doing hypnotherapy, you help them to step out of their normal neural pathways and explore some of those different choices and what they would be like. And then they get to decide, hey, this I didn't realize I had that choice. I can do this. I can take a different approach. I can exercise a new perspective. I can see it a different way. And a lot of times that's all it takes, is to see it a different way. Even the ego doesn't like that, but just being willing to see it differently can be enough to pull off of an attacking behavior of needing to be incessantly right about something, for example. And sometimes people don't want to exercise their choices because they're afraid of what they'll lose. Ego is all about gain and loss, getting, protecting. So, what am I going to lose? What's so-and-so going to think? What am I going to lose? What am I getting out of this situation that I stand to potentially sacrifice if I do make another choice? Yeah, those are limiting beliefs that do come up when we challenge the ego like that.
Yeah.
That you could see how we could just lock ourselves tighter and tighter and tighter into a leather press, or there's just no room until it's like your life feels like it's grinding you to a halt, and you can't tighten that screw any tighter,
right?
Until pop. something changes. Maybe the body manifests something, or maybe that shock needs to be absorbed.
Loss of a job, somehow. Loss of a friendship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Humans are creatures of habit, and we tend to not make big choices if needed. Not, we don't always need to make big choices, but if we need to make big choices, usually they happen because we're in so much pain or we feel really, really great.
Yeah.
Now ideally we'd like to feel really, really great and make choices, because that's a sign of being in
Yeah.
alignment.
But sometimes we can't.
But sometimes we have to lock ourselves into a grinded halt. We can't tighten the screw any more, and we have to hit rock bottom before making a different choice. And I think in time, it's okay. We've all been there. But I think if we go there less and less often as a result of practicing self-care, responsibility, accountability, working with spiritual partners, things like that, people who care about us, who don't drag us into drama, but help us to take responsibility, help us to level up, we hit those rock bottoms less often, and then, we can maintain, we raise up that vibrational scale like Abraham Hicks talks about all the time. And, suddenly, well, not suddenly, but in time, your lowest lows don't drop all the way down here anymore. Maybe you're up here just getting frustrated, and that's your lowest low, as opposed to feeling powerless like you used to feel, for example. Yeah. So we kind of move our range of emotions up the scale with more and more things, and by having realizations, making better choices, and taking that responsibility, stalking our egos, not letting it pull us down into victimhood and powerlessness.
Couldn't have said that better myself. This is thank you, Todd. That was really good. This is one of another critical thinking cards, Dunning-Kruger Effect.
I was thinking that on your other card.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Dunning-Kruger effect is the more you know, the less confident you're likely to be. Because experts know just how much they don't know. They tend to underestimate their ability. But it's easy to be overconfident when you have only a simple idea of how things are. Be skeptical of very confident opinions that lack expert understanding.
I might have written that a little differently, but
sure,
I think it's mostly good. Maybe that's my Dunning-Kruger effect. But, yeah, I think it's like the more ignorant you are,
the more confident you seem.
the more confident you might think you are, and you see this a lot. You've probably seen this a lot.
Yeah.
Especially like I don't know if I can think of a great example, but the more we educate ourselves, I think, the more awareness we garner, the more our paradigm, the more our scope of something broadens, because we're just exposed to more. And then we realize, oh, there's more to know.
Yeah.
And once we realize there's more to know, you're not as quick to assume expertise and complete authority, right? Yeah. So I think it's that exposure to more that allows you to maybe have a little bit more humility, perhaps, if it's an ego thing.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, when I was 14, I was lucky enough to go to New York with a theater group, and I did not know kind of how small my world was, and how I had just seen everyone. So, because everyone up to that point had the same ideas, had the same concepts, had the same awarenesses, had the same belief systems for the most part. We were,
small fishbowl.
Yeah. But also, I mean, and it was very comfortable, because it was like, okay, well, I was born into this arena, essentially, this tribe, this life experience, and nothing would have necessarily caused me to go outside of that, because I didn't necessarily know at that point there was anything other than what I was currently experiencing. And all of my belief systems were equal to the belief systems around me, because that is easy. It's easier. My education level, my knowledge base was at about the same level. My religious understanding of things was about the same level. And then I went to New York.
Blew all that out of the water.
Just fuck that shit right
You
up.
saw things you can't unsee.
At 14, the
At
gentle, tender age of 14.
You're walking down the street. You look down the alley and see someone sitting there naked. Oh,
I feel like I've grown a little.
Your reality just expanded. You might not have ever seen that in your hometown.
Honestly, actually, kind of, yes. We were walking down. Well, first thing was I never went to a city, like a city with sidewalks and concrete and cars going, and I had
skyscrapers.
Yeah, I had kind of been on the outskirts of the city, like my grandmother would take me to the museum and stuff, but I looked at the cathedral in New York City, and I just looked at it, and my heart grew 3 sizes. And I think I started tearing up. I'm tearing up just thinking about it, not because of the religious significance, but because of the massiveness of it and the just the energy of it, and the people there were so kind. Everything that I'd ever heard about New York was that people were gruff and hard and edgy and wouldn't give you the time of day and all this kind of stuff. And one
just
of
ask
the
Kenny next time he's on.
I've already talked. I've been there, so I know. But one of the things that I remember the most was that I was standing in line to get something to eat, and I had never been to a Greek restaurant before. And so I go, "Can I have a gyro? Gyro." And and this big fella next to me, sweetheart, New Yorker, obviously, who was like, "What are you talking about, little miss?" Like little lady. I think it was like little lady. And I was like, what is that thing? And he was like, "That's a euro. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I know that sounds really simple, but my mind just went, "Oh, I don't know things," and then it was over from there, because I got out of Richmond as fast as I possibly could, and then kept on moving across the country and learning about all different types of people in the Midwest, and now in the Southwest, and in California, and and just growing and developing outside of my fishbowl. And it's been a really beautiful experience.
And that felt like a natural draw for you, and it did the same for me. And you may not be drawn to the same things, but you may be drawn to expand in other ways, in your immediate location with the people you see on a regular basis. Holy Spirit will work with anything you got, and your life is already set up to serve you, no matter what it looks like. All your classrooms are there already. It's just a matter of taking what's there, and especially if there's any kind of conflict whatsoever, internal, external, that is where the classroom is, and that's where you have the opportunity to practice seeing things differently, and say, the ego never considers itself. So instead of projecting, we look in and say, okay, what is it I'm doing here? How am I showing up? Am I in a behavior? Am I running, clinging, lying, attacking, acting like a victim? What types of imitation love am I trying to get from this situation? Am I trying to get praise, power, pleasure, safety? Are those things bad in and of themselves? No, but they're bad only if the ego is using them as a substitute for feeling lovable, acceptable, and worthy. And then you'll know the difference if that's happening, because it'll have a flash in the pan of feeling good, and then it'll empty you out later.
Yeah.
And that's how you know what thoughts are life-giving and what thoughts are leading you down a path of emptiness.
True that. What do you guys think? Because the other side of the Dunning-Kruger effect is the imposter syndrome. The other side is, or one of the other critical thinking ones is the imposter syndrome, is that I need to have more education. I need to do this. I need to have this all figured out and do it all right. Isn't it? I think that's how so I'm an imposter. I'm not. But really, the way I've ever gotten around that one is that I just say, you know what? I know that there are things that I don't know. And I know that I can't live in your shoes. It would take me an entire lifetime of living in your shoes and living through that filter that you've experienced in your life. The only thing I can do is ask you questions so I can get a better understanding of who you are. So when you're working with clients, it's good to avoid that, over knowledge, of things, and allow them to guide you and guide you through the process of what their experience is. And so, the way I get around it is I just will flat out say, I don't know. Or I will, if I've written something or whatever, I'll say, you know what, I might change my mind later. Because we are allowed to change our mind. We do not have to get stuck in an opinion or in a one way of looking at things, and we sometimes feel we have to keep defending the thing, even though we eventually get to the point where we go, oh, this is another confirmation bias. Another bias, thinking bias, is that even though I've been educated to know it differently, because that was my first opinion, I've got to stick to it. I got to fight for that first opinion, even though I've been proven that it's wrong.
What are people going to think of me if I don't know what to think? If I don't have an opinion, then I risk looking stupid, and then I risk losing approval, and then it goes fear of death or fear of being unlovable.
Right.
So that's how you drill down on ego's BS as to why it does stuff. And if you really have an opinion, then you're in a getting behavior. So I'm getting right now. But time is used to seek the eternal, and the ego never considers itself. So if you're drilling down on the ego, then you are in the process of waking up and getting free and freeing yourself from the illusion. And people will say, why? I did everything I was told to do, and now I'm not happy. Well, if you just follow the butthole in front of you, and they don't know any better. I mean, Course says this is a world of illusion. So if your goals are just based on purely external things, then if your heart's leading you, then you can navigate that appropriately, because that's how it's meant to be done. But if you're just modeling things without finding your own meaning, then you stand to go down some very dark holes. And especially if the ego hasn't been considered and those behaviors are directing our lives. And it's not black and white. Of course, we have our good days or bad days, our days where we kick ass or we're doing. That sounds like ego. We're following the flow. We're being in our heart. We're being heart led as we do our things. Remember, it's not the what, it's the how. And there are other times when we are going down a dark hole and we know it. Right. So that's when it's time to stop and step back and evaluate. How can I see this differently? What are my choices in this situation? I always have choices. There's never a time that I don't have a choice, because I am not a victim of the world I see, So just remembering those things can help you come out of some dark places if you're in a dark spot, or it can make a good day great if you really stay mindful of that. These are the truthful principles of the universe, and hearing them should probably feel good in some way. There might be something you resonated with that you're hearing today. Maybe one thing that stood out, like, ooh, that's my thing for today. I gotta breathe on that. I want to think on that. That feels great to me. That gave me a lot of freedom from my limitation. Or maybe everything feels great, and that's good too.
Marianne said, I love this discussion. I have had so many growth opportunities that I've noticed, and some I haven't noticed until later. Right.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Liz.
Hey, Liz.
It's the Shapers. This has been a robust discussion.
It really has.
It's felt great too.
Yeah.
Anytime you focus on, the truth, your vibration raises up.
Yeah. Absolutely. She's
life-giving principles.
Woohoo! Yay! Yeah, it's been wonderful sharing this time with you, Todd.
I love those cards too.
I know.
Yeah, they're great
I
cards.
know.
They just have it's just the right thing that gets my brain moving, you know.
Critical thinking. And I love it because, and I loved to, in our practice, when we saw clients, and I think this is good for our students to know as well, is that getting information from all different angles, not just from a spiritual mindset, although that's a fantastic place to go, like with Course Miracles and different ideas like that. But there's also understanding neurobiology, understanding why things become addictions from a chemical standpoint. Dr. Joe Dispenza is good with education on that. There's lots of, learning about neuropathways and that kind of thing can be really helpful. Understanding there's proteins and receptor sites and brain cells that will continue to have somebody in a pattern that's negative. We become addicted to negative thinking at a cellular level. So when we can pull off of that, we start to let those old brain cells die, and those happiness cells start coming in more and more. It's whatever you're digging the trench of mentally and emotionally. And you as the hypnotherapist, and we'd love for you to come and join our school at Schaefer Institute of hypnotherapieschool.net. We talk about a lot of this stuff as well. And when you become a hypnotherapist, one of the things that you'll notice is watching people transform before your eyes in the most gentle, loving, and unfolding way possible. So we'd love to be a part of that journey with you. So, all right, guys. Carolyn says, bye for today. Thank you for a great discussion. I'll see you at 5:00. Don't you forget. Carolyn. I love that, Liz says. Yes. And she's saying, yes, sometimes the aha moments come days later or even years. Yes, absolutely. I love remembering that I learned that. I learned that a long time ago. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, boop, I had the knowledge of it. Now I have the integration of it. Mm-hmm. And now it becomes an automatic response, which is in cognitive behavioral therapy. We learn about shifting those automatic responses.
Yeah. Beliefs are just placeholders until we, positive or negative, until we integrate them, kind of leading us down. And we can use them to lead us down the path we want to go down, and just always remembering that we have choice, in any given moment. And the more we exercise it, the more we feel free, the more we feel better, the more we have the inner security to allow other people to have their choice too. And that feels great because, love is freely given, right? Yeah. And boy, it feels great it's easy to love when you feel loving towards yourself. It's natural to want to extend that out to others when we keep raising that vibration and raising it. It's like, I just can't contain it. I feel so good. I got to share it with you. Yeah. or extend it to you, right? Which is different from the ego projecting, right? Yeah. The ego wants to project, that pulls us down, that pulls other people down when we're in behaviors. Mm-hmm. But when we're taking that responsibility, drilling down, raising up, practicing that self-care, then we don't have to, but we naturally extend ourselves and extend that love, and it expands, and other people feel good. And then we realize, hey, we're really not that different. We all have love at our core. Yes, and that feels pretty darn good.
Feels good, babies. Feels good. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody who's commented. Carolyn, Liz, Marianne, Karen, Susan, Ray, yay, Eileen, Debbie. Thank you so much for joining us live, and all of you guys watching later, because there's a lot of you. Todd did some insight stuff, and he was like, wait a minute, there's a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of just learning and growing and becoming more aware of the things you don't know. just like us every day.
Yeah.
I love having that understanding that there is expansion here
Yeah.
for all of us.
And remember, there's nothing that you have to do differently to be worthy, lovable, and acceptable. And there's nothing that you have to change. Everything that we've essentially shared today is just looking inward and recognizing, you know, can I see this differently if I want to feel better? And I am allowed to feel better.
That's right.
You know, and by questioning, by considering myself, I weed out that ego a little bit more. And as I pull off of those behaviors, that love naturally fills in.
Yeah.
And you always were enough, you are enough, and you will always be enough. We're just looking at ways to realize that more and more often every day.
Yep, you got it. Guys, we'll see you again tomorrow. We hope you have a beautiful day, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.